$114, $22. Not what you owe. What's left? The waiter is standing there. He's been standing there for about 4 seconds now, which, in a restaurant this quiet, is long enough for the table next to you to notice. He slides the card through again. You watch his face do the thing faces do when they are trying not to react. The machine beeps, short, flat, final. You feel the heat move up from your collar. The card he is holding is metal. It has weight to it. You picked that card specifically because of how it feels in someone else's hand when you hand it over. $145,000 a year. And the thing that is about to humiliate you in front of people you do not even particularly like is a dinner that cost $450 and a checking account that, as of this morning, shows $114.22. Your next paycheck is 7 days away. Here's the thing. This is not a story about being broke. Broke is something people can see from the outside. This is something else. You look successful. You are, on every spreadsheet that matters to other people, successful. The title, the salary, the apartment in the part of the city where the coffee costs $6 and nobody thinks twice about it. And yet, the math, right now, tonight, in this restaurant, does not work. Before my first 100,000, I thought the problem was the number. I thought if I could just get the salary high enough, the anxiety would stop. It doesn't stop. It migrates. It finds a new address at a higher zip code and waits for you there. The waiter hands the card back. You put another one down. This one goes through. You smile. The people at the table laugh at something. The moment passes. And you file it in the place where you file the other moments that are too uncomfortable to look at directly. $114.22, that number. The rule at this level, and you're absolutely at this level, whether or not you have said it out loud yet, is that the salary became the ceiling the moment it started feeling like the floor. It didn't start with a bad decision. That's what makes this particular kind of financial collapse so hard to diagnose, and so easy to miss until you're already inside it. It started with a 740 credit score and an admissions letter. You graduated with $82,000 in student loans. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that was reckless. At 22, with an offer letter in your hand, the math seemed reasonable. The debt felt like an investment. Good debt, they called it, as if debt has a moral character, as if some kinds of obligation are virtuous by nature. You believe that. Most people do. It is a useful thing to believe when someone is about to lend you $82,000. Then came the first real job. $6,000 a month, after taxes, landing in a checking account that had previously never seen more than $800 at a time. And look, I want you to actually feel this. That number felt like infinity. It felt like the problem was solved. You remember standing at the ATM and just looking at the balance, like it was proof of something. The downtown apartment seemed reasonable. $2,800 in rent, but you were making $6,000, so it was only 46% of take-home, which is more than the recommended 30%, but you told yourself the neighborhood was an investment too. The pre-owned BMW seemed reasonable. A professional has to look the part. The lease was manageable. $462 a month, which is less than some people's car insurance. It all seemed proportional. But anyway, here's what nobody says about proportionality. Each decision was reasonable in isolation. Together they were building something, and not something you'd recognize as dangerous until it was already load-bearing. You were at level 2, the lifestyle subsidy. You weren't spending your money. You were spending the bank's projection of your future money. The credit card wasn't debt. It was a float, a bridge, temporary. You were going to pay it off when the next raise came through. And then the raise came through and the lifestyle expanded to meet it, and the float became load-bearing. And you didn't notice because every single month you were making it work. The ceiling was always there. You just kept repainting it to look like sky. The rule: the moment you start optimizing for how the math looks instead of how the math works, you're already in the next level, whether or not you know it yet. The shift. There's a specific moment when the credit card stops being a tool and becomes infrastructure. You don't feel it happen. That's the thing. It doesn't announce itself. 1 month, you're floating a balance because of a dental bill that came out of nowhere. $1,200 and you didn't have it liquid and the card was right there. The month after that, you're floating a balance because rent cleared the same week as the car insurance spike. Then the HOA fees went up. Then your health insurance deductible reset in January. And at some point that you cannot identify on a calendar because it didn't happen on a single day, you crossed from using credit for big purchases to using credit for the month. 24.99% APR. Let me say that differently. For every $100 you carry on that card for a year, you pay $25 to own the right to have spent money you didn't have, and you are carrying, as of the last time you actually looked, which was a few months ago, because looking has started to feel like something you're not ready to do, you are carrying somewhere between $9,000 and $11,000. You stop tracking the exact number. That, right there, is the tell. You are at level 3, high functioning insolvency. And here's what that level actually looks like from the inside, because from the outside, it looks like nothing. From the outside, it looks like someone who picks up the check at group dinners. From the outside, it looks like someone who has a 401k, which you do. You contribute enough to get the employer match, which is technically correct behavior, except that you are also carrying a personal loan you took out to consolidate the cards you maxed last summer, which means you have a retirement account you cannot touch and a debt load that is actively growing. And your net worth right now, if you sat down and actually ran the number, is negative $12,400. Think about it. You make $145,000 a year, and you are worth negative $12,400. You are at this level. If you've been here, you know exactly what I mean by the way you stop answering certain questions directly. How are things going? Good. Really good, actually, and you mean it, kind of. Because the texture of the day-to-day feels fine. The coffee is good. The apartment is nice. The car starts every morning. None of this feels like crisis. And that's the thing that makes this particular level so specifically dangerous. It doesn't feel like the edge. It feels like Tuesday. Subscribe. The next level doesn't announce itself either, but you can learn to see it coming. Like the rule, a negative net worth behind a 6-figure salary is not a math problem. It is an architecture problem. And architecture doesn't fix itself. You're sitting in your parked car. The engine is off. The letter is in your hand. It came from the bank. The one that holds the mortgage on the place you own in the neighborhood where the coffee costs $6. The words "Notice of Default" are printed in plain black ink. No drama in the font, just information. You sit with it for a minute, maybe longer. The heater clicks off. You can hear the traffic from the street 1 block over. Here's what I want to say about this moment, and I want to say it carefully. This is not the moment you failed. You failed, if that word even fits, across about 47 small decisions that each made complete sense in the month they were made. The BMW made sense in the month you signed it. The apartment made sense in the month you moved in. The personal loan made sense in the month the credit cards stopped working. Each decision had a reason. Together, they built something that is now in your hand in plain black ink. And I know what you're thinking right now, sitting in that car. You're thinking about the metal card, the one that got declined at the restaurant. You're thinking about how heavy it felt, how it felt like proof. You carried that card not because you needed it, but because of what it meant to hold something that felt like wealth. But here's what was actually true the whole time. The card was a costume, not currency, not capital. A costume you wore into rooms where you wanted to be seen a certain way, handed to waiters, slid across counters, held out at airport lounges. And the costume worked. Nobody saw through it, including, for a long time, you. The machine doesn't negotiate the terms. It opens every morning and takes whoever shows up. Consistently, patiently, without flinching. The capital compounds. The decisions compound. The distance compounds. $114.22. It always starts near there. Or it always ends near there. I'm not sure anymore which direction the arrow points, and I don't think that's a question I'm going to resolve for you today. What I will tell you is this. The letter in your hand is not the end of the math. It is the moment the math stops being abstract. What you do in the next 60 days will tell you more about who you actually are than the last 5 years of the salary combined. If this landed, subscribe. More is coming.